about, issues in Nigeria. He didn't just talk about, Good Friday. He talked about the state of the nation, how the nation can be better. But there's something he is very particular about, that Nigerians should have hope in this country. So don't lose hope, no matter how bad it seems now. He says that there's light at the end of the tunnel, even though some say, well, they are not seeing the light
exactly.
just yet.
That's where I was coming, because, they say hope and faith is the substance of things you hope to see. Whether that's correct, I don't know. But, Nkoli, this is going to be an Easter for many without food on their table, and Easter for many that didn't even have enough transport fare to go to church.
To travel.
Or
for those who want to
Easter
travel.
for many that, they do not know, when next they're going to see their family members. Like some people have old people, elder people, in the villages, in the communities. Usually about this time of the year, people are sending, food home, they're sending money home, or they're having their close ones come, visit. But this time of the year, a lot of people are saying it doesn't feel like there's anything to celebrate. So maybe that hope is all they have. And hopefully, what they hope for would come.
Yes, indeed. I have a friend who actually has been planning to travel, but she doesn't have any money to do that. But each time she calls her mom says, "Are you coming? Are you coming?" Since yesterday, in fact, she's even afraid of calling now, because the woman would ask, "Okay, are you on your way?" Anyway, but I think it's time to take you to the social media space now to bring you developments on how Nigerians are actually reacting and responding to issues on that space.
I like your frames. There's something going on.
They're almost looking like twins.
I'm telling you.
You are the only one who didn't get this memo. I see Nkoli too.
How are you?
Very well. Good morning.
Right.
Happy Good Friday.
Thank God it's Friday.
Oh, yeah.
And
this
happy
time is
Good
a
Friday.
Friday.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's see what's happening on the social media space.
Over to you.
The floor
All
is yours
right.
now.
Thank you. All right, good morning, everyone. This is Kakaaki Onoshiorena, Obozeghie, TGIF, and it's Good Friday, too. Now, the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria, FAAN, Thursday shot a branch of a food outlet, KFC, at the Muritala International Airport in Lagos State. Well, their offense is that they violated the Lagos State law on persons with special needs. They had denied earlier a person with disability access to their facility for being on a wheelchair, and the affected person, Debola Daniel, had taken to X the previous day, which is Wednesday, to narrate his experience. And according to him, he would usually visit the Oasis lounge of the airport to wait for his flight, but because the lift to that lounge has been out of service for the past 3 years, he decided to find solace at the KFC outlet in the airport. Well, Daniel said that just as he, his wife, and 3 brothers were about to sit, a lady who is apparently the manager shouted, "No wheelchairs allowed." Well, they said he wasn't sure if they heard well, and then he asked, and she repeated herself saying, no wheelchair users of any size or any shape is allowed here. So that's been the story. That happened on Wednesday, and then the action came just yesterday quite swiftly. Chidera, bring us into speed what the FAAN is saying on this. This is partly their statement.
Okay, so on their statement, we have, it is based on the findings of the team that FAAN has shut down the KFC facility at the MMA where the incident occurred. The authority has instructed that the KFC management should tender an unreserved apology in writing to the affected PRM, and the policy's statement of non-discrimination be written and pasted at the doorpost of their facility at the MIA before it resumes operation. So taking on to our reactions, Douglas says, commendable, but no room for discrimination in this time and age.
And also, Felicity says, I do not condone what KFC did. It must not be acceptable in our society. But shutting KFC down because of the incident is a bit over the top, OTT. And it says, if it happened to an ordinary man's son, would you have shut it down? But because it happened to Benga Daniel's son, you had to shut it down. Well, he's a former governor.
Exactly.
And then he is a son of a former governor and a sitting senator. That has also been a debate. If it had happened to a man on the street, would you do same thing about 24 hours after a cry out?
So this user says, Your Excellency, at at FKMO, while on action of FAAN is commendable, this also presents an opportunity for FAAN to broaden its accessibility measures to encompass all disability groups. Currently, none of our local airports in Nigeria have flight information display systems, and that offers visual flight announcement, a vital service for deaf community.
And also a reaction is coming from IOX, who is recommending solutions as well. And he says the escalators of the new airport don't work. The Wi-Fi doesn't work. Perhaps the only airport in the world without Wi-Fi. These are not rocket science. And those are the reactions right there. And we do hope that besides what has been done, we would have those things considered, because they matter as well. People are not even able to read. You have to depend on the speaker that is, to me, not usually very loud and clear enough for everybody. Because sometimes I want to use the flight and I have to depend on who we're going together. In the cases that we have someone I'm going together with, those speakers are not usually loud for me. And then talk about someone with hearing impairment, visual impairment, and all of that. I think that something needs to be done.
Okay, so I also have something to say. People should not always depend on the fact that, oh, he is the ex-governor's son or a sitting senator's son. If you encounter such a problem, speak out. Then when nothing is done, that is where there is a problem.
Absolutely, because Daniel spoke out. He did not say, oh, my father did this for me. He did it as an ordinary citizen.
Or to call his dad to say, this is what is happening here, to cause chaos.
True. Now let's go to the court. And from up north, well, 6 Labour Party members, LUP, in the Enugu State House of Assembly, have dumped the platform for the People's Democratic Party, PDP. In a letter, they said they got their minds made up because the Labour Party, that was once considered a beacon of hope for progressives' ideas, is now in a pool of irreconcilable division and incessant crisis, both at the national and the sub-national levels. Well, court cases here and there, factions up and down, those are their words paraphrased. Now, with the development, which is the defection, the PDP now has majority in the House with 17 members, while LUP has 6 members now. Well, this
was really disheartening.
Yes.
Exactly. But then Elochukwu says...
Yes, we're going to take this reaction. Like, we're going to swap it. These are the reactions to our final stories.
Yes.
So maybe you launch our final stories to take these reactions before we take that to LUP. So...
Okay, so Elochukwu says probably the terrorists that took the school children demanded that. Okay, so let's take on the final story. A federal high court in Borno State has ordered the immediate release of at least 313 persons. Detained suspect terrorists arrested by the military. The ruling says that after investigations, there was no evidence to jail the suspects. The Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Buba Edward, disclosed this during the operational briefing on Thursday in Abuja. He added that the Fred members be handed over to the Borno State government for further actions. So we will take the reactions
so
to
we had
that.
the reaction just before this one. So please, we may have to go back to see what netizens are saying, why they think that they were released for having no reason, no evidence to keep them. And then this user says probably the terrorists that took the children, the school children, demanded that.
And then Michael Biafra says, bam. When they broke the news of the release and said that they didn't pay money, I knew it. I knew it can never be. I knew it's either they lied or they have agreed on demands of the terrorists. This can also be their demand.
Okay, final thoughts on that from Kanayo Chukwu. It says, next is to give them army uniform and send them to the eastern part of the country, whatever. So this is the LUP story, and in the next slide are the 6 lawmakers who have now defected to the PDP. Absolutely, here they go. How did netizens see this? Well, some say it is normal that they did, constant with politicians and all. So let's bring in users on X.
Yes, so Francis says the legal department of the Labour Party should initiate a suit in court for these guys to vacate their seats. There is no justifiable grounds for defecting from the party that brought you into power. They all need to be taught a big lesson.
And Jasper, he says, in a Senate jurisdiction, their seat would be declared vacant immediately, as there is no rancor and wrangling within the party in the state. It says this madness has to be tamed if we are to make headway politically in this country.
And this user says, Julius Abure and the rest of the disgraced Labour Party escorts, I hope you are happy now. They now use your shenanigans as their excuse. As for those that defected, start counting your days in that house, because you are not returning. You will be swept aside by a much stronger wave.
Okay, let's see what that stronger wage will be. Yes, James says this is not new that politicians defect to other parties. They simply use the Labour Party as a springboard to achieve their ambition. It is the way it is in Nigeria politics.
Well, I have to say something about this because,
yeah, sure.
Defecting from a party that brought you into... Okay, so now we are not sure the party actually... Labour Party brought them into the whole political limelight. But if it did, I don't think it is right to defect to another party and just leave them, maybe without prior notice. We don't know about that, but then...
well, their notice was contained in the letter they sent to the House, and it was read out by the Speaker of that House. So you can always defect as far as
you have the right to,
but
as
far as our politics are concerned.
Politics.
So. Politics, I remember your book. Politics. No, next is to say politics. You have
politics, and even polygame.
Oh, okay.
So indeed, I think the defection is a whole lot of conversation because according to the constitution of the parties, if the parties are not in order, if they have rancor and rivalry within the party, the participants or the candidates who got winning on that party have a right, to defect and say based on the fact that the party has a level of, instability. And that was shown at the national, this issue of Julius Abure being chairman or not chairman. So like someone said, it's a great excuse for them to defect.
If that wasn't a plan earlier.
Yeah.
Okay, and we remember the House of Assembly members in Rivers State and all the brouhaha
that they're still in court.
That at the end of the day, well, we leave politicians to do their thing, and she's one of them. So
we leave
maybe she will tell us what happened at the end of the day.
And what are you talking about here?
Okay, thank you so much for all you do on the social media space.
Thank
and
you.
Keep that space, bustling as always.
Happy Easter.
You have a wonderful night.
Is there a party or something?
I should ask you, you're the happy hour girl now.
So I have to parties this weekend.
Okay.
All right.
Behind the scene.
I see.
Okay. Enjoy yourself.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, so it's still Kakaaki, the African Voice, and we are done with the social media space now. We will be taking you into our next conversation, and this time...